So, it's time to meet the guy who made the software that I complained so much in the last episode, and apparently it's not just super user-unfriendly, but apparently it's so bad that it just accidentally combined his DNA with that of a Pokemon. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna help you. Your product is bad and you should feel bad. I'm just gonna fucking leave you hanging there and just leave. Yeah, I just told you I'm not gonna help you, and you're just like, oh yeah, do this and that. You know what? No, I'm just gonna walk out. Go find another asshole to help you. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. You have to help him in order to... Oh, wait. He walked back out anyway. Let's talk to him again. I guess let's pick yes this time just to show the different dialogue. Is he even gonna... Yeah. So I guess it was a good thing that I just left you hanging there, because now we get to see both dialogue options. Well, not that it matters for most of the viewers because it's in Japanese, but at least those who understand Japanese are gonna get that benefit. Yellow actually kind of enhances this cutscene by making your starter Pikachu kind of interact with Masaki as a Pokemon. He's kind of like confused, like something's wrong. Something's wrong with this weird Pokemon kind of. And he just gave me the St. Anne ticket, which, yeah, we're gonna need to progress. And now there should, on his PC, there should be data for... No, not yet. I have to leave the house and go back in. There's data on the PC now for the evolutions, as well as just Eevee, the original Eevee. Of course, it's only the scene entries and not the caught ones. But yeah, since you only get one Eevee in the game, this is where you can register the other ones as seen. Okay, now as much as it pains me to do this, I'm gonna talk to this guy one more time and then get the hell out of here, and I never want to see this guy ever again. So, I'm gonna go back now. Yeah, team's alright. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go the other way because what is happening? Okay, that was weird. I don't know what the fuck just happened there. The music just stopped for some reason. I don't know if that showed up in the recording. It was almost like the emulator window got pushed to the back for some reason, except I could still control it, so I don't know what that was about. Anyway, yeah, the reason I went this way is I completely forgot to fight this guy. I did the Mew glitch, of course. I flew away from this guy, but then I completely forgot to go back to fight him legitimately this time. So yeah, we're gonna do that now. What is it with me forgetting things lately? I forgot to sell the nugget, then I forget to fight this guy. Anyway, another update on the whole Golduck being blue despite being named Golduck thing. I mentioned in the last episode that it's because, you know, they decided for the names, and then only much later they decided on the colors for each Pokemon. It turns out, I never thought about this, but apparently Hakuryu is another example of this, which is the Japanese name for Dragonair. Now, once again, Dragonair is obviously blue, but its Japanese name, Hakuryu, is actually translates to white dragon. And if you look at like its beta design, it does look like it was supposed to be white at some point. By the way, last time I talked about the leaks, I talked about the whole controversy surrounding it and whether it's actually legit or not. Well, it turns out the leaks were not originally received from an anonymous source as originally claimed. Instead, they came from a hack on Nintendo servers. And it was that same hack that also uncovered the Gold and Silver Space World demo. So yeah, there's pretty much no doubt at this point that the leaks are legit. So we're gonna go through this house right now. We couldn't go through this earlier because there's been a break-in here, which is why this police officer is here. But now they're letting us through, and here's the thing. You have to go through this house in order to, like, basically get out of town. Even Route 4, there's a point of no return. So this is like the only exit out of town. So my headcanon is that that hole in the wall has nothing to do with the break-in, and that was just there all along, and everyone who lives in this town has to go through this family's house every day when they like go to work. Like everyone's just at the same time going through the house, and I just imagine there being like this one particularly annoying guy who always tries to like make conversation with the people who live here, and every time he walks in, they're like, oh god, there's fucking Joe again. Hey wife, there's fucking Joe again. Oh god, it's time to listen to his bullshit again. Nice weather, isn't it? Shut the fuck up, nice weather. It's cold outside and we have a fucking hole in the wall. Jesus Christ, I don't care about your small talk, just go through the house like everyone else. If you have to fucking go through here, you know, you could at least close the door behind you. We already have a hole in one wall. We don't need another open door in the other. There's a fucking draft in here. It's fucking insane. Meanwhile, the wife is like, honey, relax. The house was super cheap. Anyway, this guy is gonna give us the TM28 dig that he stole. And wait a minute, you're not Joe, are you? That puts a whole new twist on my headcanon. Anyway, they don't seem to want it back, so I can just keep it. Dig, of course, being sort of like an HM version of an escape rope, meaning I'm never gonna use it because I prefer to walk out of caves myself and not waste the experience, especially not if I have to waste a valuable move slot for it. So here's the Pokemon Daycare. A lot less useful in this generation because of the lack of breeding. It's only used to level up your Pokemon, which can be useful for like 100% completion if you want to evolve your Pokemon that you don't have yet. But for a casual playthrough like this, I prefer to just do all my training myself. So let's go in here. There's one of those roadblock NPCs who won't let you pass for some stupid reason. The road is closed. I'm so thirsty. Are those two sentences connected? Do they have anything to do with each other? Because if you're not letting me through because you're thirsty, I'm pretty sure that's not what your job is supposed to be. But if those two sentences aren't connected, and you're not supposed to let me through, but later when I give you something to drink, you do let me through, again, I think you should probably be fired. So that last NPC I talked to, not this girl, but the other one, in all versions of Generation 1, she gives you a male Nidoran for a female. Now, in Green and Blue, that's great, because, as we've seen earlier in this Let's Play, the male Nidoran is pretty rare in this one, and the female is the common one. So yeah, this whole time I've been spending yelling at that fucking Nidoran to finally appear. I could have just waited and gotten one here, but then again, like I said, part of the appeal of the Nidoran family is that you can get its final form so early. And yeah, I already have a Nidoking at this point, and if I had waited until this trade, and well, I would have had to start from scratch here. But yeah, in Green and Blue, this is a good trade. But in Red, she wants the rare Nidoran for the common one. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, the trade is different between both versions. So you'd think they would make it so that she always gives you the rare Nidoran for the common one, right? Because this is supposed to be, that trade's supposed to be good, right? But nope. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, no matter which version you have, she always gives you the common one in exchange for the rare one. That's pretty fucking stupid. It's like, yeah, technically you made it more balanced between the two versions, but now why would anyone want to do this trade anyway? Oh, and the after-battle music glitch kicked in again. What is it with audio problems in this episode? This is the second time this glitch has happened in this playthrough, I think? On another note, anime news. Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution got a trailer for Netflix, And it has a Japanese audio option and English subtitles. This could be huge. Could this finally be the official subbed release that we've been waiting for like 20 fucking years? Well, a lot of people are speculating that it might be just dub titles. But then again, they already made proper subtitles for that screening at a convention a while back, so this might be the real thing. And hell, even if it is dub titles, it would be a start. Then again, I wouldn't be too optimistic just yet because, well, remember a while back when they started uploading all the anime episodes for the new 2019 series on YouTube, and everyone was celebrating that they weren't region locked? And then it turned out the whole not being region locked thing was a mistake, and then the region locking was added later. Oh, and also, Netflix still does that Netflix thing where, despite there being a Japanese audio option, English is still being listed as original. So yeah, there's still a few things that keep me pessimistic for now, but hey, we can hope. We can hope that after over 20 years of the show being a thing, we can finally watch the original version of it legally. But of course, Twitter is already speculating on how they're gonna fuck this up. Like, hey, we did what you asked for, here's all the Japanese voices, but Ed Goldfarb's shitty music still in the background. That would be a real kicker in the ass. And that would just prove that they don't even know why it is people don't want to watch the dub. Now you may be thinking, well, they did listen to feedback with the last movie's dub. That one left the soundtrack alone, had a much more accurate script than all the previous ones. So you may be thinking, well, if the criticism from the previous movies reached them and they got the last movie right, why are people so worried about this one? Well, the difference with this one is that it's Mewtwo Strikes Back. The alpha and omega of shitty Pokemon movie dubs. So TPCi is kind of in a difficult situation right now where they have the opportunity to finally give Mewtwo Strikes Back a decent dub and fix all the bullshit that 4Kids did with it back in the day. Or what I'm worried about is they're gonna go for nostalgia. So TPCi is kind of in a damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of situation where let's assume that TPCi comes out with the movie for Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution and it's absolutely flawless. It's complete, 100% accurate, no replaced music, accurate scripts. People would still be complaining because, this isn't what I grew up with, I want it to be like the original. Implying the fucking 4Kids dub is somehow the original because Pokemon fans are just that fucking brain dead. This movie was so much better back when there was a tacked on moral at the end about how fighting is bad in a franchise that's all about fighting. I think Dogas put it best when he said, saying I've only ever seen Mewtwo Strikes Back in English is like saying the only exposure I've had to One Piece is what they used to show on Foxbox. And you know what the worst thing is about the English dub of Mewtwo Strikes Back? It's that it was a lot of people's first exposure to Pokemon. You had all these parents who knew nothing about Pokemon going with their kids to the theater watching this movie, and you had all these critics, fucking Siskel and Ebert, the nostalgia critic, everyone fucking panned this movie like it was the worst thing in the world without realizing that what they saw wasn't the real movie. It was like if somebody who didn't understand Japanese watched it without subtitles, guessed what the story was about, and then wrote a script around that. Kinda like some weird Samurai Pizza Cat situation. Except nobody at 4Kids could write a better story than your average 10-year-old's fanfiction if their life depended on it. And now everyone thinks that's legitimately what the movie was like. No, it wasn't. Almost none of their critique points actually hold up to the Japanese version. And since it was so many people's first introduction to the franchise, that must have really hurt Pokemon's reputation in the West. Like every time some boomer says some bullshit about Pokemon just being some stupid kids franchise that no one over the age of 10 should ever find any interest in, I can guarantee you 4Kids had at least some influence in that way of thinking. And still, despite how unbelievably bad it is, you still have all these people, most of which have probably never seen the original, not only defending the dub, but some people talk about it like it's some higher form of art, that's some unmatched masterpiece, the likes of Citizen Kane and the Shawshank Redemption. Like, there's this quote Mewtwo says in the dub that's like, the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant, it is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Something like that. And dub fans act like that's the deepest thing they've ever heard. I've seen people say that sounds like something Gandhi would have said. No, it sounds more like something you'd read on one of those inspirational quotes Facebook accounts. You know, the kind that posts quotes like, "You can't just open the book of my life at page 375 and think you know me," and then people go, "Oh my god, it's so inspirational, I feel like a changed man." It's like straight out of the mouth of insert random philosopher here. Meanwhile, the actual origin of the quote is Aaron Hansen talking about killing the president. Yeah, that Mewtwo quote is really just a fancy pseudo-philosophical bullshit way of saying people change over time. There, that's a quote from me, Zolby AB 2020, people change over time. And am I Gandhi now too? It's the same people who think Tears of Life is the greatest piece of music ever written. There's dead-ass people out there who are spreading the rumor that Tears of Life, you know, the piece of music that plays in the dub, in the scene where Mew's tears bring everyone back to life and then Mewtwo suddenly has a change of heart out of fucking nowhere. There are people claiming that during the premiere screening of the dub, where there was some of the Japanese staff present, when it came to the Tears of Life scene, the music was so emotional that it made the Japanese staff cry. What is the source for this claim? The commentary track on the American DVD. Now here's what they actually say on the commentary track. Japanese staff was present, true. Japanese staff cried during that scene, true. But the people in the commentary literally say that it was probably not because of their music replacement that they cried, but because of the scene itself. And yet people are out there claiming, "Oh, Tears of Life is such an emotional song, it made the Japanese staff cry. They said that on the commentary." Your own fucking source is calling out your bullshit. So please, TPCi, I am begging you, do not pander to these people and go for the nostalgia approach. Just give Mewtwo Strikes Back the faithful dub it deserves after all these years. Please.